Welcome everybody into the Valley. I am Ethan Shutt, joined by Ryan Shutt and Philip Russell, and we are coming at you on what is this Wednesday night? Goodness, playoff basketball has really. If COVID didn't make me lose track of what days it is, playoff basketball happening every other night is really throwing me off. We're coming to you Wednesday night. We gave ourselves a night of rest and recovery and the ability to mentally just digest what we witnessed last night, but wanted to take the time to record an episode, recap game 2, look ahead to game 3. Going to be a really different game with some news that's come out today. But guys, I feel like outside of one really obvious answer, let's start with a recap of game 2. Suns win 104-103 on what will go down as one of the biggest plays in Suns history. I think officially trademarked copyright the Valley Oop, the insane 0.9 second alley oop. For those watching on YouTube, Ryan has it beautifully displayed behind him. I lost my mind. Absolutely lost my mind in a way that I've only done once before. As a Vikings fan, the Minneapolis Miracle, Diggs touchdown from Case Keenum. My instant reaction when that moment happened was just silence. Like my brain couldn't quite handle what it had witnessed. And so I'm sitting next to Ryan and Ryan jumps up and screams. And I just hands on head, just kind of staring because I could not imagine a world where things go right for the Phoenix Suns. And I'm starting to get accustomed to it. And it's great.
Somebody on Twitter said it best. They said that is the most un-Suns thing to happen to the Suns in ages, and it really is.
I mean, I can't tell you, and again, I think I've admitted this before. I have vivid memories of a young Ethan crying, watching heartbreaking Artest tip-in nonsense Kobe shot, Spurs, like a lot of heartache. There's not a lot of memories, and I'm like, wow, how great was that? And to have one of these finally kind of coming back to you, Booker's Clippers buzzer beater was in the bubble, which was still wonderful. And if you're looking bird's eye view, big picture, like meant a lot. And the bubble run meant a lot, but this is something else. Philip, we've determined as of last episode, you are officially a Suns fan now. Now that you are an official Suns fan, who I can confirm has his first piece of Suns merch on his way to his house. We'll be seeing that soon, hopefully on these videos. How was it watching the game, Philip, where you were at?
So I'm not as emotionally invested yet.
You'll get there, buddy. Don't you worry.
I want the Suns to win, but I just enjoyed the game really until all the officiating stuff. I was just loving the game. It was a scrappy game. There were a couple of moments of offensive brilliance, especially from the Clippers down the stretch. But it was a great playoff game. Just hard-nosed game of runs. Clippers start off 6-0 run. Suns rally back, and then just back and forth. Teams throwing haymakers back and forth the entire game. Really big shots by the Clippers the last 6 minutes of the game that are going to go overlooked. Big plays by Paul George down the stretch that are all going to go overlooked because he choked 2 free throws and gave the Suns a chance.
Yeah, that was
as
huge.
They say, is history.
I might have been a little bit distracted this morning, and I'll openly say this: my boss texted me last night at 11:30 and said, "How are you feeling? Are you okay?" So he knows the situation that I'm in here. But this morning, usually I'm listening to my music while I'm working here, and instead I was like, let me see what's on YouTube. And a lot of it was just clips from Scott Van Pelt last night, interviews from ESPN, the post game. I was really living it. I was like, I don't want to leave this moment. I'm going to stay here as long as I can. And Wilbon and Stephen A. Smith were on Scott Van Pelt, and there's a lot of really good stuff. One quick note for those that might be listening that are there in Phoenix, whether you were in the arena or outside the arena, huge props to you all. Michael Wilbon said, in all of my years of covering NBA basketball, that was one of the loudest arenas I've ever been in, let alone for a playoff game. He said that was insane. And so they were talking back and forth. And right after Paul George hit the 2 that followed, that was probably just under a minute, right? Maybe like 30, 40 seconds left. And I think Wilbon made mention to Stephen A. Smith, like, this is over. Like, he's like, Paul George has got it tonight. He was already thinking in his mind. He's like, my journalistic self was like, the narrative's being rewritten. Paul George without Kawhi, stealing game 2, blah, blah, blah. And Stephen A. Smith, in the most Stephen A. Smith way possible, said he just had that face like, you sure? Like, are you sure? And Wilbon said when he missed those 2 free throws, Stephen A. Smith looked over at him, and Wilbon made some comment about how crazy it is for Paul George to have a free throw shooting night like that. And Stephen A. Smith goes, have you not been watching basketball the last 9 years? Like, I lost it, man, because it like that sucks. It does. And you talk about it, Philip, so much good gets rewritten or just overlooked completely because of one just flaw at the end. But man, he fumbled the bag. Like, he had that chance to turn it around, and missing 2 free throws. That's absurd in a moment like that for anyone.
And then the part that's tough too is that it's Reggie Jackson hit a couple huge shots, 1-3 on a rewatch that's sticking on my head. And I don't know if I say this dude's name right. Zubac, whatever his name is.
I know that
Zubac fella.
The Pokemon is Zubat, and he is with a C, but you don't make it sound like a cup. And everyone I've heard says like Zubats, Zubac,
Zubats.
Something
Their
in there,
big dude. Their big dude had a huge shot. He had a huge shot down the stretch too.
And he had a huge block on campaign. Like,
yeah, so like so much good stuff if you're a Clippers fan is erased because you're a star. Doink 2 free throws, man.
Goodness. And it's nuts. I mean, and even that one thing that got mentioned, again, as I replay these childhood moments that broke my heart, Tim Legler, I think, made a comment. He said, how weird is it for someone to miss a 3 in the corner, it bounced off the rim at such an angle that it immediately goes out of bounds? Like, it didn't bounce up, it didn't back out into the court, and it hit Bridges' 3 hit with such a weird angle that it went straight out of bounds to give the Suns those 0.9 seconds. Like, lots of weird stuff where it's like, if this would have gone different. And again, Philip mentioned the officiating. I don't want to go into it because I think the 3 of us can unanimously say it sucked. Like, what a way to slow down the game at such a crucial moment. I also could go on a rant with let's use super slow-mo at 1/100th of a speed to say, although Beverly obviously hit it out, there's a nanosecond where the molecules on Booker's hand were still connected by some sort of compound neutron nonsense where the ball's touching him. So it's like, I hate that crap so much. And so a lot of nonsense happened, but let's go to the end. 0.9 seconds, Jay Crowder inbounding the ball from a very abnormal spot. That is not somewhere you would typically expect to have a late game inbound like that, a play like that, a lot of teams have some designed plays to say, hey, 0.7 left, what are we running? And either it's usually like an ATO, like they're having a timeout after a made bucket, made free throw, you're advancing it, going from the side out type of position. I can't remember a big time buzzer beater of some kind where the ball is inbounded underneath the corner. Can you remember anything like that? Because that just seemed so odd to me when I was looking back and thinking of big plays that have come from inbounding there. Like, who runs that?
I feel like there may have been one when Dwight Howard was on the Magic that's ringing a bell. I couldn't tell you game, I couldn't tell you year, but I feel like they ran. But that's the last one that I would remember. And even that's vague remembering.
The only one that comes to mind, it's not even from the baseline. It's from just up the court, kind of on the wing, the Derek Fisher turnaround shot. That he somehow turned around and shot a 3 with 0.3 seconds left.
Yeah, because that's how math works, right? Yeah. How long does it take to grab a ball, turn around, and shoot it? 0.3 seconds, probably. But no, it was so weird. And one thing that cracked me up was in the post-game interviews. Again, I was really deep in it this morning, guys. Hearing the players openly admit they have never run that before, ever. They said everything that happened was Monty grabbed the whiteboard and he just drew it. And that made me so incredibly happy. Not only that Monty is a smart, well-prepped coach that also knows the rules of the game, which apparently some of those NBA players didn't know in regards to no goaltending on an inbound, but that he has a group of guys who will execute that to perfection.
Well,
and even the Bridges miss, I thought that was executed to perfection too. It just didn't fall.
I read that they actually called that the Triano, and it was loosely based off some inbounds things that they would do at Arizona for Ayton specifically. And they call it Triano because Monty kind of took what they ran a couple times for Ayton when he was at UA and adapted it to this situation, which I thought was really interesting.
I think you might be combining a couple stories. So Jay Triano was a coach for Phoenix, and he ran that similar play for Tyson Chandler. So it wasn't anything,
but that was adapted
related.
from
correct. Yeah. That was a wrinkle Jay Triano put in for the Suns back in, goodness, I don't remember the year now. I mean, a few years back when Tyson was here and could physically jump. And he had a buzzer beater that
the dragon bender to
but
Tyson
they've been talking a lot that Triano was just known for insane random basketball nuggets of wisdom, and that one of them was, you can't have a offensive goaltending on an inbound, and that turned into a play that you see Tyson Chandler buzzer beater dunk with a very apparent push off underneath. But that general idea got morphed into what we saw. But again, no one would ever practice that from that angle, making Jay Crowder's pass that much more impressive. I mean, an inch away from hitting the side. But everything was executed to perfection. A broken-nosed Booger setting a beautiful scream on Zubat himself. You like that one? I purposely said the bat Pokemon on that one. No, Zubac couldn't. To his credit, he fought through the screen, made a play at the rim, but, that it couldn't have been done better.
But to that point, that's another thing that Monty knows really well, is that Monty didn't just draw up two good plays. He drew up two really good plays in exact anticipation of how the Clippers were going to defend. Yep. He drew up that initial play to McHale. He overloaded that side of the court.
Yep.
If Booker's going to take that shot, there are too many guys. There are four guys on that side of the court on the shot that McHale had. But he said, okay, when Booker puts it on the floor from here, they're probably going to run a double. So he sticks Jay and McHale there, and they got a perfect look. And then the calculation for that under the basket play is that Batum or whoever was guarding Booker was not leaving Booker. So that once Cam cleared out and McHale goes to the corner, then a back screen for Ayton is going to be how well does Booker set the screen, and then how quickly can Zubac recover? And the answer was he couldn't get there quick enough, and Batum didn't switch.
Do you think Monty anticipated the fact that DeMarcus Cousins wouldn't even try and jump at the pass while guarding the inbound?
Cousins sent the ball probably the wrong way.
He positioned himself in a way that would have made sense if it was a side out, where you're staying perimeter, or I guess parallel with the inbounder, trying to use your length to block off.
But he didn't even leave his feet.
Yeah, man, it was not a good look for him going straight from that to shoving Booker and Payne. That was not a good look. And I will say too, what was interesting with that, it was weird how they decided to position the players they had out there, because they subbed on the big guys. Like those guys weren't out there after the missed free throws, timeout, missed three. They subbed them in for that length. And what was odd for me is I don't know, when you're setting screens down low, it's odd for me that they didn't switch that screen when watching it back. And I don't know if that's a personnel issue. JJ Redick in Old Man in the Three, his episode last night, they went live on YouTube, kind of just recapping it. And he even mentioned that. He said, on some of the teams I played for, they said in any situation like that, everything gets switched no matter what. Like, you don't allow yourself not to have that happen. And he made mention of that. He's like, you're throwing two centers out there. So either if you are switching anything, you're going to get screwed. Or if you're not, you're going to have an immediate height mismatch, which is exactly what happened. If the switch happens, Ayton's on someone tiny. If it doesn't, Zubac is recovering, trying to jump off his back foot. And Ayton is, goodness, I don't know what his vert is. You saw earlier in that game, he caught an alley-oop basically above the square. I mean, there's not a chance. Like, if that pass is anywhere where it needs to be or even remotely close, it's the same result. So again, coming from basketball minds like Reddick and others who I trust, that was not a good look for Ty Lue. And it's also weird for me where I think I will say, if anyone listened to our last episode, which who knows if you did or not, but we had some pretty accurate assessments in terms of what we thought we would see in game 2, didn't we? Philip, I know you touched on some of this stuff, but do you remember some of the stuff we threw out last episode?
Clippers going to the basket. That was a big thing. Get from the perimeter downhill. It's going to open up more so you don't have to be as reliant on jump shots, and that worked very well.
Yep,
very well.
I was going to say, Philip, your point last episode after game 1 was they need to go vertical, they need to attack, they need to get to the line, and if nothing else, open stuff up. Ryan came in with the Pat Beverly needs to just hound Booker and annoy him, which I think Philip and I were still accurate in saying Booker at his best can get anything. But to Beverly's credit, Beverly played about as well as he could in that role. Booker didn't look normal well before the bloodied nose. Statistically, you can see that. So I think Beverly did everything he needed. And I think my only contribution, as little as it was hey, in game 1, it looked like Luke Canard could hit shots. I'm curious if they're going to use that moving forward. They probably should have done it more. Luke Canard had 19 minutes and was the best rated player with a +8. Both big runs they had where they either clawed back or took the lead, he was taking and making big shots. So, again, not to toot our own horn, but it does feel good when we say things that don't look totally stupid the next time through. But talking about numbers, just talk about Canard here, and I won't go back to him because how much can you say about that guy? No offense. I want to talk about our numbers of the night. Basically, the one statistic that jumped out to you the most when looking at the box score right after the game. I know, Philip, you did a rewatch. I watched it again today because I was just, I did not want to leave that moment. Ryan, what was the one number that jumped out to you the most looking back at game 2?
The fact that the Clippers from the free throw line were 18 of 24, and 5 of those misses were Paul George. That you've got to hate that if you're the Clippers, if you're Ty Lue, that you go 18 of 24 from the line, and 5 of your 6 misses are Paul George.
Do you know my favorite? Didn't was probably not the right word. If you look at my favorite part of that too, because I was looking at free throws earlier. Zubac was 6 of 6, and DeMarcus Cousins was 2 of 2. Your centers went 8 of 8, and Paul George goes 5 of 10.
Yeah,
that's a tough look, especially when you add when the 2 of those misses were. But anyway, no, I think that's a great one. Philip, what jumped out to you there?
-21, which is the Suns from beyond the arc. Suns have been -21, so the Clippers have made 7 more threes than the Suns in both of these games, and the Suns still won, which looking statistically, if you're a Clippers fan, you see, okay, 38% game 2, that's below their season average by 4-ish percent. So another 3 or 2 threes there. But if you're the Suns, you're surviving games where you're getting mollywopped from the perimeter, which is impressive because you got a playmaker coming back in game 3.
Yeah, no, and funny, Philip, my number of the night, option 1, was exactly what you just mentioned, but I figured someone would say it. That was honest. The first thing that jumped out to me is you say, hey, the Suns just beat the Clippers. They shot 23% from 3 last night. Like 6 of 26 is an absurd bad night of shooting for a good 3-point shooting team. But my number is 3, and that is the amount of players the Suns had who were in the positives and the plus minus. And it was it's weird to say it, it was the Suns' big 3, or at least the big 3 junior. Payne, Deandre Ayton, and Devin Booker were all +4s. Everyone else was even or minus. And in a game when you win by 1, and you've got 3 dudes who were all the dudes last night, I mean, you can just see who carried that team. Like, we didn't have that big bench pulls ahead. We didn't see that big moment where the second unit was able to really kind of take it to the Clippers. We didn't get that. We thought we might see it again, and we didn't. But the 3 dudes that had to be the dudes really took care of business. I know Ryan alone could probably talk about campaign for 30 minutes. Philip and I could probably add in 10, 15 each. I mean, what can you say about the guy? I mean, he's the best story in the playoffs right now. The fact that he is G League scrub playing in China, and I know everyone's talked about it, but the fact that it's not that he played 10 or 15 good minutes, or it was like a Terrence Mann, like, wow, he had one hot game. He's stepping in as the starting point guard as the number 2 seed in the West for Chris Paul. Like, can you talk about bigger shoes to fill? But goodness, Cam Payne, 50% from the field, not his best 3-point shooting night, but finishes with 29 points, 9 assists, and 0 steals. Or sorry, wow, what an anticlimactic way to mess up my own point. 0 turnovers. He had no steals, and that's not even accurate. Poor guy. The guy had 2 blocks and 2 steals because the guy did everything. But, I mean, it wasn't like he took the starting role and did it his way. He did it in a very Chris Paul way, in the way that he was scoring, getting his version of the efficient 2-pointer, which is exactly what Chris Paul does, and limiting turnovers. And that's the biggest thing you miss when you don't have Chris Paul. So, again, this is just an aside. I just wanted to give Cam Payne all the love because I think he deserves it. Go ahead, Philip. You ready for this?
I'm ready. I'm ready for our next segment. Let's get
all
it,
right.
baby.
So we are starting something called Shoot Your Shot. Now, Shoot Your Shot is a segment that we are going to be coming back to every episode, carrying into next season when it's probably a little bit more structured each week. But for the playoffs, we've got a lot going on just between each game. So Shoot Your Shot. This is our time for each of us to make 1 or 2 bold predictions about what will eventually be the week ahead, but in this case, the game ahead. And to give us some accountability, so we're not up here just calling shots, missing every time, and then we finally hit one. We're going to keep track of how many shots we make. So I will have a lovely little Excel doc, aka notes on my phone that I do math on, where I'm going to keep track. And to incentivize hitting on your bold takes, we're going to give 2 points to predictions that we as a group deem are reasonable, bold, but not crazy. And if you hit one that is just so absurd, I think you get 3. So that's how we're going to keep track amongst the 3 of us. We're going to see who will shoot their shot the best. Philip, I know you were very excited about this segment, and you've got one in the chamber. What are you going to say here?
Okay, so my shot is significantly safer than my safe space, which we'll get to.
Okay.
Which we'll get to in just a second. Okay, my shot is that Reggie Jackson's going to score 25 or more in Game 3. I think Reggie Jackson's about to go off. I think he's going to have a hyper-efficient shooting night. Reggie Jackson, 25 or more in Game 3.
Now, let's see. So Reggie Jackson, I know he dropped 19 last night.
Mm-hmm.
What is he averaging in the playoffs?
Not 25.
I definitely know that much. I'm curious because I feel like a lot of it too is with Kawhi. Those numbers aren't going to look good anyway. He's averaging 10. I would say that is very much a bold claim, but I wouldn't call it insane.
Is this going to be his Terrence Mann Game 7 go off for 39 kind of game?
I think it's going to be a really steady 25.
Okay.
All right. I like it. Going to call that one a 2-pointer for this lovely episode. Ryan, shoot your shot.
I think one or a combination of DeMarcus Cousins, Patrick Beverly, or Morris Twin will be ejected next game.
I knew that was coming.
I think one or a combination of will get tossed.
All right.
I feel like that's a 2-pointer. If you called the guy, if you just picked one,
Boogie.
I'm going to call it 3 points. So
Boogie will get tossed.
Cousins gets tossed in Game 3. I am absolutely good calling that a 3-pointer because it is absurd, but also somehow not, if that makes sense. But I absolutely love that. Let me chalk down our date here so I can keep track of this. I don't know how absurd you guys are going to call this one. I think
Paul will be back.
I think Cam Johnson's going to score 20 or more from Cam Johnson. That is definitely not happened, but I think he was the best offensive shooter by far for the Suns last night. If the confidence keeps going up, Chris Paul comes back in against a porous Clippers team that cannot cover every option. I think Cam Johnson's going to be like the 4th offensive weapon at times, And if they find him in the corner and he gets hot, I think it'd be a thing of beauty. Y'all let me know. I'm cool calling it a 2. I don't think it's crazy. But
Cam Johnson over 20 points. I think it's a 3.
All right. I like it. I felt the same way, but I didn't want to try to inflate my own stats
Ryan
here.
disagrees.
I think it's 2 just because I don't think it's that much more drastic than Reggie hitting 25.
Reggie Jackson hit 19 last night, played 39 minutes, and shot the ball 15 times. Cam Johnson played 24 minutes, but my boy didn't miss.
I'm cool calling it a 3. It doesn't hurt my feelings.
This is my thing. Cam Johnson played 24 minutes, did not miss a shot, and had 11 points. That volume's got to come from somewhere. I'm not quite sure where.
Dario.
I want it to happen. All right. Well, I have our official shoot your shots down. Our takes are flying. And now we will conclude shoot your shot with safe space. Now, safe space can be taken a number of ways, and I'm not going to worry about it. What it is for this particular podcast is a beautiful glow of warmth, love, compassion, and understanding that is going to envelop not just us, but our listeners as we enter this safe space in Suns fandom, where we are allowed to make whatever take we want. You can say whatever you want. There will be no takes exposed down the road because this is a safe space. We love each other. You all love us. We don't know you, but this is a safe space. So, Philip, I know this is the one you've really wanted to get to. And for the record, I will be keeping track of the safe space takes as well, just because I think it's very, very entertaining in the future. But safe space, Philip, what do you want to share with us?
Scott Foster did an exceptional job last night.
That's awesome, man.
Hold on. Here's my retort.
This is a safe space.
I know it's a safe space.
It's a safe space.
May I just present why I think that is an incorrect take within the safe space?
No, because this is
because I'm about to clap back. Hang on, no. During that game, there were like 3 or 4 times where there was a controversial call, and I texted you guys, and I nailed them.
They made
every
the right call
time.
every time.
Every time.
To be fair,
Scott Foster did a great job.
So it wasn't as bad as it could have been had Chris Paul played.
Scott Foster did an exceptional job because he was completely predictable.
You knew what you were going to get with Scott Foster.
Down to the T. The first call, the challenge on Paul George, trying to get Paul George with 2 fouls. I texted the boys. I said, they're going to say it was a block before an offensive foul, even though it's clearly an offensive foul. I texted. I said, that's going to go back. It's going to be the Clippers ball, even though Beverly smacked it out of his hand.
I also, one of my favorite moments from the refs last night was Devin Booker driving, incidentally hitting P-Bev. They don't call a foul, but then they stop the game and then call a foul. I don't know if that's allowed, but Scott Foster, I hope you had a lovely evening.
Welcome to the safe space, Scott Foster.
You did a great job.
Welcome to our safe
space.
Ryan, what would you like to share in the safe space?
Since this is our first ever safe space, I'm coming out guns blazing.
That's terrifying. That's very anti-safe space, but continue.
The Suns only need 6 more games to win a title, right?
I was like, is that your safe space?
I was like, that's math. That's not a take.
Math.
I think with only potentially 9 games left, I think the Suns will only lose 2 more games the rest of the playoffs.
Wow.
So that would mean, let's just go at best. Looking at the Clippers, I believe is the weakest opponent left. No offense. Kawhi's gone. It is what it is. So that would mean sweeping the Clippers.
And Suns in 6.
And then Suns in 6. Wow, that'd be crazy.
Because I am not too threatened by either the Hawks or the Bucks at this point.
I think that take gets incredibly endangered if the Clippers steal a game. Because that would be
Kawhi at this point. Kawhi, who's been ruled out for Game 3, has no reason to come back if they're down 3-0.
Yeah, I heard some weird takes from both sides, man. I heard some people saying from other players that they're confirmed ACL sprain, and that apparently, and this is just speculation from what players are saying to sources and whatnot, that Kawhi has openly told some folks, like, yeah, I'm done. Like, I'm done for the year.
He's been confirmed out for game 3, and if the Suns win that with Chris Paul coming back, he has no incentive to play that game 4.
And there have been some athletes, such as James Harden, Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, to name a few, who will come back while hurt because their team needs them to maybe win a championship. Kawhi is
You're not that guy, pal.
Not that dude. So I'm all right with that. I'm gonna round it out, and this one, I am not one to go nuclear with my takes.
Oh no!
But alas, here we are. You ready for this
Clippers in 7.
Nope. I think
that's my take.
I think Booker and Ayton will win more championships together than Kobe and Shaq. Safe space, baby. It's a safe space. Now here is where this, now this is where
I'm usually the one who just throws things out there.
Now this is where this crazy take came from, right? Now they won 3 rings together. In case you were wondering at home, the reason this popped in my mind was because of last night and going back to something that was said this is absolutely nuts, in DeAndre Ayton's NBA draft workout interview. Talk about the huevos on this guy. He is not, if I'm remembering this right, he has not been picked yet. He has worked out for the Suns and is interviewing with the press. And he said something to the extent of, oh yeah, if Suns pick me, blah, 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 Shaq and Kobe 2.0. And I remember just being disgusted by this, right? And this is why I'm intrigued. And maybe they don't win 3 or 4. That's fine. I want it to happen. Someone speaking into existence. But here's the thing that I love about the two of them together long term that Shaq and Kobe weren't able to do long term. I think in that relationship, there is a defined alpha and a defined beta. No offense, DA. I mean that with all the love in the world. The Kobe Shaq thing, even when successful and winning, there was conflict and tension that was never going to result in a long-term success. I think it's the same with Steph and Klay to an extent. You know who the guy is, but there are defined roles for every other incredible piece. Now, we've watched DeAndre Ayton in these playoffs, in my opinion, defensively play at the level of a 3-time defensive player in the year of Rudy Gobert, and offensively figure out his exact role and continue to destroy every mismatch shown to him. And Devin Booker's doing all of this in his first ever playoffs with a lot of time left and a lot of years on his contract left. And DA is about to sign some big money. They're going to have a Mikal Bridges locked up for big money for the long term. I don't know. This is a safe space.
It is.
But I wanted to just put it out there. Because
I thought you were going to get mad at me for mine, saying we're winning it this year, and you come out with we're winning more than Shaq and Kobe.
Hey, my guy did the LeBron. Not 1, not 2, not 3.
Now here's my thing. Let's say the Suns win this 1. If this young core sticks together, do you not think they could do it again?
Absolutely.
I mean, I think with the contracts, how they're set up, depending on what happens with Chris Paul and his contract situation, there's no reason that the Suns can't keep this core together. And I think they've shown plenty of times now that this was not a fluke. I think they have shown that they are a legit team with defined roles, a good coach, and the executive of the year. It would be shocking for a team like that to somehow plummet immediately. So, statistically speaking, if your team's going to have a chance at winning a ring, you never know. You know? Hey, this is why we have a safe space, guys. This is what it is. All right, so as we bring this to a close, we officially leave the safe space so we can go back to roasting each other's stupid takes. Not saying any of those were or mine, but we look ahead. We kind of nailed it with Game 2's preview. Game 3, I don't know if we can use Game 1 and 2 as any real evidence of what's going to happen next, because all signs are pointing, every report is pointing to Chris Paul being back in Game 3 and Kawhi also not being there. Do you guys see game 3? We'll just go super simple with this. Do you think game 3 can be a close game, or do you think Chris Paul is going to unlock something that allows the Suns to look like we're playing the Nuggets Suns?
I mean, I think the question is just 3-point shooting. So if the Clippers tick up to their season average and the Suns continue to struggle, it's definitely going to be a close game. So can it be a close game? Absolutely.
Yeah, I think I'm with Philip. I think the possibilities there. I don't think that's off the table. But if the Suns improve their 3-point shooting even in the slightest, it's Suns by 15.
Yeah, and that's my thing. Like last night, the Clippers shot 38% from 3 on 34 attempts. That's not a bad 3-point shooting night. I mean, they're a good. Again, I think we talked about this. Like if you're in the low 40s, like that's killer.
They're all-time great 3-point shooting team in the regular season.
Absurd. And so what I watched in game 2 was pretty good 3-point shooting game. Pretty good from the field. Nothing spectacular. They weren't able to capitalize like they have in the past. In free throws, again, 75% as a team, you look at that and you're like, that's not great. But overall, that's only 6 points they left off, right? So even if they make them and we say they win by 5, assuming that the Suns can't make their free throws they missed, and that's the Suns losing by 5, shooting 23% from 3, I'm kind of hoping Chris Paul comes back. They're riding the high. The Clippers' legs continue to be kind of dead, and the Suns win it by 20.
Face mask book? Are we gonna see face mask book?
Oh man, yeah. One more thing for Suns fans to freak out about. Can't wait, guys. I don't know if we'll be able to top game 2 anytime soon, but it was an absolute joy to watch, while also giving me an incredibly high heart rate and some health issues that I'll probably deal with in my 30s or 40s. But for now, Suns are up 2-0. Game 3 tomorrow night. For those listening in the morning, game 3 tonight. Thank you guys for joining us. Any last words as we conclude this episode, Ryan?
Go Sun.
Go Sun. I assume that's SON campaign, son, your child.
Yes.
Yeah, I figured. Philip, anything to leave us off with?
Nah, I hope the Suns win.
That's that spirit I'm talking about right there. Last time I got a hearty Suns in 4. This time I get hope they win. That was the energy from the lady from Monsters Inc. Like, best of luck. Great job.
Hey, she's always watching, and I'm always watching the Suns with an analytical eye, which is why you all get such a great product here at Into the Valley.
That's the crap I want.
There it is.
For Philip and Ryan, I'm Ayton Shutt. This has been Into the Valley Phoenix Suns podcast.
We out.